Ashley, and I'm here to talk about my favorite audiobooks. I'm an Audible subscriber. I listen to audiobooks on my way back and forth to work, and anytime basically I get in my car. I love audiobooks as a way to read books I've already read. A lot of times I reread audiobooks. Like I just reread Daisy Jones and the Six, which was my favorite book from last year. Reading it on audio made me squall like a baby because it's fully casted, and if you can see, I'm playing fetch with my dog at the same time. If you hear him, that's what's going on. I reread it, and if you know the story, you understand why when I got to the end, I cried like a baby. It is so good. And I want to preface this by saying reading on Audible is reading. If you read audiobooks, you are reading books. Do you not count children who've been read books by their parents as still reading? Or I'm not even going to argue that audio isn't reading. So if you have that opinion, you're wrong. Sorry. The first book I want to talk about, the first couple of books, it's a series that I will talk about as my favorite audiobooks I actually read last year. The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Kowal and The Faded Sky by Mary Robinette Kowal. The Calculating Stars is first, so I'll hold it up. This is an alternate reality historical fiction novel set in the 1950s and 60s. The Earth has been hit by a meteor, and now we have to colonize space. But because it's set in the 1950s and 60s, they don't want women or black people to help do that, just men. Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because you need women if you want to colonize a place. Like, they have to learn to survive there too, but it's dangerous, so they decide they don't want to. The main character is Elma York, who was a pilot during World War II. If you don't know that, women were pilots during World War II. Often didn't fight battles. They flew rescue planes, and they flew like stuff, what is it called, anyways, but sometimes they ended up did getting in battles. So, you know, she's perfectly qualified. It's not fully casted. This one is narrated by Mary Robinette Kowal. She narrates her own audiobooks, and she does a fantastic job of it. She also narrates a book by Seanan McGuire, the October Daye series. I have not read it yet, but it is on my list because I love Mary Robinette Kowal's narration. Next, I have the hardback of one and the paperback of the other. These are romance books by Helen Hoang. I actually read these on Audible through Audible Escape. I absolutely love Audible Escape. This one is about a girl who has autism, who is autistic, who hires a male prostitute to teach her how to be intimate. This one is a fixed up marriage between a girl named Esme and Kai, who Kai is autistic in this one, and she is basically marrying for a green card, and his mother sets them up, and they learn to fall in love. The only thing I did not like about this one is she has a child, and I don't want to spoil anything, but you'll understand if you read it. I loved these only have one narrator, but it kept me engaged enough that didn't matter. If a novel only has one narrator, that's absolutely fine. They just have to be able to get me in the story, immersed in the story, and then I can read it all day. Next one I'll talk about is another one. I was a Book of the Month subscriber at the time this came out. The Power by Naomi Alderman. Charlie hit the camera, excuse me. This is about women who have electricity and they can shock men, and it's a wild story. I highly recommend it on paperback and audio, but the audio, the narrator has done a whole lot of narration. I've also read others by her. that just blew me away. I was so sucked in. There's political, I don't even understand how to tell you how detailed this story is, to the point that they get on the news and talk about how men can defend themselves against women with electricity and wearing rubber, and it's fantastic. Highly recommend it. Next, I'll talk about When We Left Cuba and Next Year in Havana by Chanel Clinton. She's got another book coming out this year that I'm gonna get eventually. Next Year in Havana is the first one. This is one series. The other one is not in this series. This one's about Marisol, who goes to Cuba in 2017. I believe her grandmother has passed away, and she's trying to take her grandmother back to Cuba in the form of ashes, and she meets a man, and it's a dual timeline story. It's not just, it's just not historical fiction, because it also talks about the grandmother and when she left Cuba. And this one is When We Left Cuba. This one is about the sister of the grandmother that passed away, and it is historical fiction, talking about when the Cold War ended, and Beatriz Perez is the name of her, and how she was a spy for America and Cuba, and how she felt when Castro died. Some of the others I don't have a physical copy of. I'll say anything that Neil Gaiman narrates is fantastic. I've read several books by him that he narrates himself that was so good. I could not, like, he just does such a good job. One of them is Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. He narrates it himself. He blows me away. I could sit and listen to him all day long. If you like Thor, if you like Loki, if you like the fantasy element of Norse mythology, I would recommend that one, because it's not about Thor and Loki. It's about the whole religion of Norse mythology. So good. The next one I would recommend is, if I can find it, that I read. Oh, Illuminae and Gemini and Obsidio by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. Those are also fully casted. That Illuminae was actually the very first audiobook I had ever read in my entire life, because I've always read on in the physical book, but I got bored with the radio, and I get bored with music, because, I mean, that doesn't mean I don't love music. I do love music. I just didn't listen to it. But Illuminae is a science fiction fantasy novel, and if you like creepy AIs and this governmental intrigue, and it's just, there is a cute relationship in all three of them. Each book just like focuses on a different person. I'll get Cody to put the cover in this one. It's just fantastic. I love Illuminae with all my heart. I know the books they're oddly formatted, so that's one of the main reasons that the physical books are so popular, because they have like text in them and emails and documents. They're not like just straight chapters and dialogue. They're different. They're formatted differently, but I would say put the book down and listen to the audio. Aiden in Illuminae creeped me out so much. I was driving to work and I had to pause it because it just gives you the chills. The voice that they used for Aiden. Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I own both of those. I showed them in another video, so I'm not going to go get it for this one. Both of those have cast for each of the characters. It's fantastic. I loved those on audio, but I would still say listen to that read that one physically, because it's just gorgeous. Stay With Me by I'll put the picture up over here so you can see the author. I'm pretty sure it is. It's narrated by the same author that narrates The Power. She does such a good job of just immersing you in that story. Stay With Me really made me sad because it's about a woman that marries a man and then she has trouble conceiving, and then he takes another wife and it breaks her heart, and it just, I loved it so much. Really recommend it. The next one that I've read, I have read by V.E. Schwab, the Darker Shades of Magic series, Shades of Magic series. I did love it on audio, but I loved the physical books more, like really detailed in the world. So I would recommend Shades of Magic, which I'll put up the picture over here. I'm doing this so I can show Cody when to put the picture so he doesn't have to like detailed dig into the video. And I don't have all of these. I don't own all of these. So I love classics on audio. I'm not a big classics reader. I don't like classics, but when I do read them, I try to read them on audio. Like I've read Pride and Prejudice on audio, Go Set a Watchman, and How to Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee on audio. Most of the audiobooks I read are ones I've read before, so I can follow along with the storyline. And Coraline by Neil Gaiman, also another one that I've loved. People get on my nerves when they say audiobooks aren't reading because it's a form of ableism. If you wouldn't deny a blind person who's listening to a book the fact that they're reading, so why in the world would you say somebody else isn't? And I really try to find ones I know I'm gonna enjoy. That's why I've been an Audible subscriber for probably 3 years now, and this is just a handful that I've read and loved. If you have any favorite audiobooks that you've read that's not on this list, leave them in the comments down below. If you have any ideas on audio books that agree with me or don't agree with me, leave them in the comments down below. I have so many thoughts and opinions, and I'm just getting to this, I'm just like starting to chip away at them a little bit. But thank you so much for watching, and if you like the video, please like and subscribe. Thank y'all for being here. I'll see y'all later. Bye.